Like LeBron James,
yes.
a.k.a. the fakest guy in the league.
That's what you were saying, yes. If LeBron isn't doing it, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe
LeBron,
I shouldn't
you mean
be
a.k.a. the fakest guy in the NBA?
Yeah, that's what I was reading on your Twitter, yeah.
I think when we all sit back and learn from the situation that happened, understand that what you could tweet or could say, and we all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you're only thinking about yourself. So I don't believe. I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke. And so many people could have been harmed, not only financially but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do, even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Thanks for watching Numbskull News. Today, we're talking about the LeBron and China story. Several weeks old, I know. I didn't want to make a video on it right away, even though I'm a LeBron James hater, and really wanted to jump on it, but I had to stay myself just a little bit, let some time pass, really think on it, and I'm glad I did. And of course, the sports shows had all kinds of crap on the LeBron James story in China, but that story went everywhere. It was insane.
They think he was sold out because he was saying, I want to make some money, so why do you have to do it this week? Why couldn't you set it next week after we leave? And a lot of people are saying, you're putting money ahead of human rights. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying.
That's exactly how it's playing.
You have Daryl Morey sharing his thoughts, and there have been consequences financially for the NBA. LeBron James doesn't seem to be happy about that.
Even Muhammad Ali's ex-wife got in on it.
Muhammad Ali's ex-wife weighed in as well, saying that she wished LeBron would have stood up for the people of Hong Kong, that Ali would have handled it differently. Take a listen.
Ali became more controversial, more international, and this man can go anywhere. They will not take Muhammad Ali's shorts and burn them anywhere. It would never happen because you are a man of the world. So James should be the same way, a man of the world.
But I'm probably going to put a little bit more of a focus on people who have been LeBron James supporters, liberals, progressive types, and their takes on LeBron and the controversy thereof.
But one thing that I do want to note is I think that at the root of this and at the root of his commentary is the financial component of it. Because
that's what he's not saying, I think.
He's not saying it, but because it's so obvious because he keeps talking about, oh, you got to think before you tweet because what consequences are you talking about?
And predictably, a lot of progressives, they have a real problem when you make decisions based off of your money. And I was really going to hit LeBron on that myself, but I'm a capitalist. I don't fault him at all for making a decision about money, because it's a hell of a lot of money. I mean, look, I've never made anywhere near what LeBron does. I never will. I can only imagine having to make those kind of decisions and possibly lose, hundreds of millions? I mean, and that's just one guy.
And by the way, just to mention his political tweets, a lot of people are pointing to this particular tweet. Let's take a quick look at it. And it's about injustice. So this was about a year ago or over a year ago, January of 2018. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So look, Twitter is, it could be used as a tool or a weapon. And in this case, it's a tool and weapon.
And of course, this idiot, I mean, she's an intelligent idiot, but an idiot nonetheless. A weapon is a tool. It's not one or the other it's both. And unfortunately, liberals like to use the internet against you. Now, of course, conservatives like to do that. So it's just a free-for-all. However, this idiot happens to be right on one issue. You can't have a tweet like that, and I believe that was a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. You can't have that and then have the stance that you had on Hong Kong. It makes you look like a hypocrite because you've chosen to be a hypocrite. And it's hard for me to fault him for being a hypocrite. Everyone is. I mean, if you look deep enough with everyone's statements, everyone's tweets, everyone's posts on whatever social media, and then their actions, I mean, eventually you're going to find some hypocrisy in there, and that's on everybody.
Yeah, do you realize LeBron James was untouchable throughout his entire career? He was beyond reproach. He's the most famous athlete of our generation, and this is going to follow LeBron, not just for the rest of his career. I think this is going to follow him for the rest of his life.
And I happen to agree with this guy here. I mean, it is going to follow him the rest of his life. It's not going to follow him, all throughout every day and all this kind of crap. It just depends on the situation that comes up and what he chooses to speak on. It'll come back to haunt him.
You now have people questioning if LeBron James really cares about equal rights, if he cares about freedom, or if he only cares about those things when there's no ill will, no effect to his bottom line. When something's on the line, when LeBron's money is at stake, he doesn't seem to care about equal rights or freedom.
And of course, the continuing thread is, oh, he made this choice about money. One thing I do have to say, it's not just about LeBron's money. Because estimates that I've seen, like if China decides to break all ties with the NBA, and there was a TV deal, merchandising, you name it, basically if those ties get severed, then the NBA will lose 15% of their salary cap. That's hundreds of millions of dollars. That's a lot of money. So if he spoke out against China in support of Hong Kong, that relationship between the NBA and China is done. It's done. And if that happens, that'll cost 15% of the salary cap. So it's not just LeBron's money. It's every player in the NBA's money. It's an impossible thing. Even if you want to do the right thing, what's the right thing? To speak out on something that's a world away, or protect, everyone's money in the league? And you might say, well, what does he care about all these other guys' money? I mean, his best friend is Chris Paul, who's head of the Players Association. So he has connections and with everybody, I'm not saying he's this big, all-caring, father of everybody, but I think there's a certain level of responsibility when you get to the be as big as LeBron. And I think he knows that. He's aware of it, and he knew that consequence. And that's part of why I kind of understand why he made the decision to not speak out against China and not support Hong Kong. As rough as that sounds, and as hypocritical as it is, I can understand it from that point of view.
And LeBron with his "I'm more than just an athlete" and all that shit. Yeah, he and like all his speaking out on all these things, and he gets all hyped about all these things, and then he's all fucking mealy mouth about China and all that.
What's he saying about them?
Nothing. And I guess there must be a lot of money. Yeah. Truly a lot of money. I know it's not easy being that kind of celebrity, but don't put yourself out there if you're not going to really ride or die when it's time to ride or die on your comments.
I see.
If it was something like in Ferguson or Black Lives Matter, but then with the China, I think there's money. I think it's money.
Okay, well. Let's just end the speculation right now. Yes, of course, it's money. I mean, think of there's three big places LeBron James gets paid. All right, there's the NBA, there's Nike, and then there's Hollywood. And you might say, what, Hollywood? Well, yeah, he's got a movie coming out. He's got a show, The Shop, on HBO. So that's one of his big money streams coming in. And you have to think about it from his perspective, just on what he's going to lose. Because this is a guy who has aspirations to be an owner one day. You got to have an ass ton of money. We're talking around the billions of dollars in order to be an owner in the NBA. We know he makes hundreds of millions from the NBA from playing. And he probably makes probably even more from Nike selling the LeBrons, which are very popular. And we know they have deep ties, Nike does, in China. All right, we already know the relationship between the NBA and China, but Nike, they have billions of dollars invested in China, manufacturing their products. And then Hollywood, China is the second largest market in the world, especially when it comes to Hollywood movies. And LeBron has Space Jam coming out. Of course, the studios want to show that movie in China, where basketball is already popular. That movie in China could probably make $80 to $100 million. So LeBron James comes out against China. There goes $80 to $100 million. Just the movie. If he were to do that, all right, it doesn't just cost the NBA their relationship and 15% of a salary cap. But now China will tell Nike, sever ties with LeBron. Get him out of there. Because you can't manufacture LeBron James shoes here. Anything with LeBron apparel. As a matter of fact, we will sever ties with you completely, Nike. And it costs you tens of billions of dollars if you don't get rid of LeBron. Now, Nike always, it positions itself as this ultra honorable and progressive company, but ultimately it's about the money, the bottom line. You're talking tens of billions of dollars. They will kick LeBron to the curb. And that would cost LeBron James hundreds of millions of dollars. Not to mention Hollywood. Think he could ever get another movie made if he spoke out against China and cost the studio $80 to $100 million? No. He'd be blackballed. And so, without those two major revenue streams, he'll never be an owner. The NBA would eventually like to mend their relationship with China. You can't do that if LeBron James is an owner. So, they would deny him ownership. As soon as he retired, gone. Forever. You got to think about that. That decision to support Hong Kong would have cost LeBron possibly over $1 billion. I mean, that is such a crazy decision for one statement, but it very well could. So when you're talking about, I think it's about money. Of course, it's not. But it's not just about money. It's about dreams. A dream of being an owner. He has chosen the path to become an owner and is willing to pay that kind of price as far as political price that he's paying and will continue to pay.
And Nike is the king of basketball. Nike's a $30 and $40 billion a year business. The NBA is an $8 billion a year business. The NBA answers to Nike, and Nike answers to China.
LeBron is in checkmate with this whole situation. There's not a good outcome. Even if he does the right thing, right, and supports Hong Kong. Think about the billions of dollars it would cost him. A chance at ownership. And that's not a small thing, by the way. To be only the second black man in NBA history to be an owner. I mean, that's not just like an important thing in sports. It's a important thing for our culture. And you might think that's ridiculous. It's just sports. But it's also showing us that our society is getting better. Because if Black America is rising up to the fact that they're having multiple owners of NBA teams, and you got Jay-Z owning part of an NFL team, what is that showing people? It's showing people that black people are prosperous, or they're getting there. All right. And that's only a good sign. I mean, it doesn't erase any kind of bad stuff from the past, slavery or Jim Crow or any of that. But it's saying that we are progressing and things are looking up. Still got problems, sure, but they're getting better.
Here's my biggest issue with LeBron James. He just bankrupted the woke's economy and investment in him in terms of being authentic. That's what he did. And it's an issue because it's disingenuous. What you didn't include in your statements is the plight of those people in China. And if you're a person who believes in equality and humanity, that has no border. So what he did was go out there and show something that was inauthentic. It wasn't authentic to LeBron's brand. And now we're sitting here saying, LeBron, next time something comes up in any capacity in that scope, we're going to look at your side eye because you had your opportunity to step up in those moments, and obviously you didn't.
This is the biggest problem with LeBron, and this is what really made me want to do a video a lot sooner than this on this topic, because LeBron James has aligned himself with the woke crowd. Unfortunately, the woke crowd is fickle, and they don't give a damn about what it would cost him. They're not in his position. They don't think that by LeBron supporting Hong Kong, it would cost other players millions of dollars, not just him. But at the same time, it was really easy for LeBron to be in that crowd and be woke. And it's not hard to speak out against Donald Trump or to support any of those progressive causes. And really, equality is not a progressive cause. It's an everybody's cause. But but some of the more polarizing aspects of the things LeBron has supported and has spoke out on, it's easy positions to take because the NBA embraces it, Nike embraces it, Hollywood, they eat that crap up. So, he's just preaching to the choir all the time. It's easy to be woke during the day. But when the night comes, it gets a lot more difficult. When now to speak out on the right thing, as you see that you have been before, now is going to cost you something. Now, all of a sudden the NBA doesn't support it. They don't like that. Hollywood damn sure ain't going to like it. And Nike's going to have a real problem. As I've talked about before, all of these things come to bear and it's a crazy story because I want to point my finger at them and say, you hypocrite, you piece of crap. You're not genuine. You're fake, right? But at the same time, I'm looking at everything it's going to cost this man and what he's going to, and by doing that, and what it would cost all these other players in the league as well. It's an impossible decision to make. And he chose, look, I want to be an owner. It's important to me. And in order to do that, he'll sacrifice his voice. Or at least the importance of his voice. Still have one. But, for what that's going to be worth now.
Anybody who has covered celebrity for many, many years, I can tell you that this stuff goes away.
But Harvey,
it's going to go away.
The whole China issue is gonna the news cycle will run out, and it's once they start playing,
it's going to be gone.
All right, yeah, these two old guys, they 30 years of covering celebrities. Yeah, they don't understand how things work now. Tweets are forever, as we have already seen in this video. Videos are forever. Any kind of post, all this crap will live on in perpetuity for the rest of LeBron James' career, for the rest of his life. If you have another Ferguson-like deal, the next time there's a officer shooting of a young unarmed black man, LeBron James wants to speak on it, you're just going to have a bunch of people rolling their eyes like, whatever, dude. We don't want to hear from you. That's not going away. Now, through the NBA season, yeah, people are going to, hey, what are the Lakers going to do? Are they going to win a championship? Where the rubber will meet the road is when LeBron James decides to speak again. Then all this stuff comes right back into play.
With LeBron, I mean, listen, first of all, he's a great player. Second of all, he does do a lot of great things. And I obviously I exaggerated for effect, but I think he's full of shit.
And that's how I think a lot of liberals are going to view LeBron James from now on. They're not going to take him seriously. They don't want to hear him anymore. All right? He got to go out on the campaign trail with Hillary Clinton and speak. I mean, you think Bernie Sanders is going to have him? Elizabeth Warren or whoever wins the nomination on that side? You think they're going to want to bring LeBron James in? Hell no. Because his voice is worthless now. It's political dead weight is what it is.
The one problem, the issue he had, I think we all know, the issue he had was the timing of which Daryl Morey did that. He wasn't there in China. And so the timing of which the Nets and the Lakers were going over there, they had to deal with all that. They were locked in their hotel rooms. Look, I know they're 5-star hotel rooms, but they're 5-star. But they're like, but they can't do. They don't know what's going on. They don't know if they're playing a game. They don't know who's waiting for them outside the door. Daryl Morey didn't have to deal with that.
Here's a defense of LeBron that aggravates me. If anything, it should have woken LeBron James up and every other player that, oh my God, we're here in this foreign country and we're scared for our lives. You know, mind, body, soul, as LeBron James has said, that just because of a tweet, we could be in some kind of physical danger. I mean, that's who you're dealing with. You know, and that's another place where I actually fault LeBron. You know, instead of pointing your finger at China, you're pointing it at Daryl Morey. So I understand the not supporting Hong Kong. What I didn't, and I will never understand, is pointing your finger at Daryl Morey and going at him. And that's what he did. Accusing him of not being educated on the topic when Daryl Morey has been, you know, very much involved in Chinese basketball, especially ever since Yao Ming, but they've been very well connected over there for a long time. So he knows damn well what's going on.
The China controversy should expose Phil Knight and Adam Silver more than LeBron James. Knight and Silver are the real General Tso's chickens.
And I believe that's exactly right. I mean, this situation did expose LeBron a little bit. Is he fake? I don't think he was. It's weird. I don't think he was fake until he was fake. You know, I understand it. He's chosen to be an owner, and he's not willing to sacrifice that dream for people a world away. You know, not everybody can be Muhammad Ali, man. To face jail time and lose 3 years of your career like he did. And LeBron, you know, of course, wouldn't face jail time, but I mean, you're losing a ton of money and losing any chance of ever being an owner in the NBA. You know, and everyone for a long time always got on to Michael Jordan for not speaking out on a lot of topics and a lot of issues. You know, no one really looks at all the philanthropic work he does off the court, behind the scenes. You never hear about it. But Michael Jordan's done a ton of great work in this country for poor people and disadvantaged people. When he played, he was going to be a player and wasn't trying to get political on anybody. He didn't care to. He has political positions, so he just doesn't speak on them. But it keeps you from being put into checkmate like LeBron was. That's exactly what this situation is. You're going to lose something. You're going to lose this money, ownership, but your voice will be huge. And if you want to be a social justice warrior, people see everything you laid down. I mean, they would write books about you. They'd probably make a movie in your honor. But choosing what he did to keep the dream alive of ownership and all those revenue streams and all these things that he wants to do, make more movies, you know, have a production company and do great things, after he's done playing, he had to surrender the importance of his voice and how people take it seriously or not. And now no one's going to give a damn ever. That's the cost. And in a way, I feel bad for him. I do, because everyone has a First Amendment right to say whatever the hell they want to say. And I fully support LeBron on everything he's ever said, and every position he's ever said, and every choice he's ever made. You know, I don't like all of them, but I don't have to in order to say the man has every right. And I will always say that. And the choice he made this time, he's got every right to make that choice. And there's just a price to be paid. I mean, there's a yin and a yang, man. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. No one gets out unscathed, not out of life. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what great things you've ever done. You're going to get hit. And this is a big hit for him. And it'll be a lasting hit. People won't forget this. But at least he's got a giant bed of money to sleep on and not really worry about it. All right, thanks for watching this video. I'll be back with some other crap sometime. Bye.
That won't be an episode on The Shop.
No, we talk about it on
You
The
want to
Shop.
do an episode of The Shop? LeBron James, get Yao Ming, former NBA player from China, get him on the fucking show and let him talk some shit.